In this lesson, we want to talk about reflections. Now, reflections are also properties of certain functions, and this property is basically a kind of special translation. Our translations are movements that we can apply onto a function. And as for reflections, we have mainly two types of reflections that we work with. Now I'm going to use just an exponential function as an example of this property. So this is a basic exponential function, y is equals to, let's say, 2 to the power of x. There are two ways in which we can reflect this function. We can reflect it along the y-axis to achieve something like this, and we will call this new function, let's name this one actually f of x, and this one will name g of x. Then there's another type of reflection that we can do, which would look something like that, and we can name this k of x. Now to get from f of x to g of x, this is a reflection along the y-axis. Now whenever we reflect along the y-axis, multiply x by -1, which is basically represented by saying that the new function will be equal to the old function that you had, which might be f to the power of -x. So if we were to rewrite that with the blue, that would be g of x is equal to f of x, except we negate the x. So wherever we see a x, we multiply it by -1. This is reflection along the y-axis. Then we also have reflection along the x-axis, and here we multiply y by -1. So this will be k of x is equal to the same function f, except we negate the function itself, the y value, so minus f of x. So we multiply the whole thing by -1. In this case, we just multiply x by -1, but here we multiply the whole thing by -1. And we can see that if we pick, let's say x is equal to 1 on this function over here, or -1, this corresponds to this value, to the same value on the reflected function, except now the value is +1. But if we pick that same value and we take it to our function on that is reflected about the x-axis, so this is our x-axis, that is our y-axis, then we get the same value. Let's say this value here was a, this here will be -a for the same x value. So this is how you can kind of remember reflections. Reflection along the y-axis, the x value changes, becomes a negative value of itself, or its value multiplied by -1. But if we reflect along the x-axis, then the x value stays the same for the function. It's just the y value that's now multiplied by -1. And there is a third type of reflection that we're going to do, which is reflection along the line y is equal to x, but that will be for another video on inverse functions. So this is all for reflections.